In this video, I'm going to show you how to generate icons and splash screens for Android, iOS, Mac, Windows, and web apps from a single source image using Quasar Framework and Icon Genie. I'm also going to show you a very exciting project that I've been working on, so make sure you watch till the end. If you're new here, my name's Danny. I'm an indie app developer and creator of VueJS. If you want to learn about cross-platform apps and VueJS and web development and all that good stuff, click subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss anything. Every subscription helps me to create more content for this channel. So we're going to be using Quasar Framework and its Icon Genie tool to take a single source image and, based on that single source image, generate all the icons and splash screens that we need in all the different sizes that we need for Android, iOS, Mac, Windows, and web apps. But even if you're not using Quasar Framework for your app, maybe you're using a different hybrid app framework, or you're creating native apps for Android and iOS, you can still use Quasar's Icon Genie tool to save you hours of tedious work, manually generating countless icon and splash screen images in tons of different sizes. But just to let you know what Quasar is, it's an incredible framework which allows you to create a VueJS app with a single code base and deploy it to many different platforms. So you can deploy it to the web as a single page application, a progressive web app, or a server-side rendered app. You can deploy it to a mobile app using Cordova for both iOS and Android. And you can deploy it to a desktop app using Electron for Mac, Windows, and Linux. And it also has a huge UI components library with hundreds of different material components, which you can use to create your app, and tons of different plugins and utilities as well, including the incredible Icon Genie tool that we're going to be using. Let's get started by creating a new Quasar project with the Quasar CLI. So you want to go to quasar.dev and get started, and Quasar CLI and installation. And so you need to have Node.js installed first, and you can get that at nodejs.org, and you might want to download the one on the left there. And once that's installed, you can install the Quasar CLI with this command. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it into my terminal. And this is just my terminal running within VS Code, which is the editor I'm going to be using in this video. And you just want to run this command, and if you have any issues running that, then you might need to put sudo at the start. And once that's installed, you can then create a new Quasar project with the Quasar create command. So I'm just going to run Quasar create, and you want to make sure you're in the folder where you store all your projects. And we need to give this a name, so I'm just going to call it instant-icons. And it's going to ask us for some options. So I'm going to leave the project name, and I'll change the product name to Instant Icons. I'm just going to stretch this out a bit. I'm going to leave the description, and for the author, I'm just going to put my name. And for the CSS preprocessor, I'm just going to choose none, because we're not actually going to be creating an app here. We're just going to be generating some icons, so I'm just going to choose none. And for the components and directives import strategy, I'm just going to choose auto import. But again, this doesn't really matter in this case. And I'm going to disable ESLint here. I'm not going to enable any of these options, so I'm just going to hit enter. And I'm going to choose yes, use npm to install the dependencies. Okay, it's finished creating our project, and if we scroll up a bit, it tells us we can launch it by just opening the folder and running Quasar dev. And I can see the folder it's created here, Instant Icons. So I'm going to drag that into VS Code and open up the terminal and just run Quasar dev. And we can now see the basic Quasar starter app running in the browser. And if you want to learn more about Quasar and how to create apps with it, then I have tons of Quasar videos on this channel. And I also have 3 Quasar courses that you can check out at dannys.link/courses. So I have a 15-hour course where I show you how to create cross-platform apps with Quasar using Quasar, VueJS, Vuex, and Firebase. And another 15-hour course where I show you how to create progressive web apps with Quasar, VueJS, and Firebase, and Node.js and Express as well. And then I have a really short course where I'll show you how to create a beautiful weather app using Quasar as well. Let's install Icon Genie. So you want to jump back to the Quasar site and scroll down to Icon Genie CLI and installation. And Icon Genie is a global package, so once it's installed, we can then use it for all of our Quasar projects. and you want to install it with this command. So I'm just going to copy that and kill my dev process by pressing Ctrl and C and paste that command in. And again, if you have trouble installing this, if you have permissions errors, you might want to just put sudo at the start. And I'm not going to run that because I already have it installed. But once it's installed, then we can then use this tool. So if you jump to the command list page, then we can use this generate command to generate all of the icons and splash screens that we need. And it says here our source icon should be a PNG, and it should be a minimum size of 64 pixels, but it's recommended to go above 1024. So let's make our source image double that, so 2048. Let's create our source image, and I'm going to be using Figma to do this, which is an online design tool, and you can just go to figma.com. And you can sign up to this for free, and they don't ask for any bank details or anything. And with a free account, you can create up to 3 projects. I'm just going to log in. Then I'm going to click this plus button to create a new project. And I'm just going to choose blank canvas. And I'm just going to full screen this. And I'm going to click on this button up here and add a new frame. And I'm just going to draw this onto the page. And we want our source image to be 2048 by 2048. So I'm going to change these width and height variables over here to 2048 and 2048. And I'll just zoom out. And I want our icons and splash screens to have the same background color as our app's primary color, which is this blue color that you can see in the header here. So I'm just going to find out what this color is. So I'm going to right click on this header and see if I can find the Q toolbar component. And I'll scroll down in the CSS. And I can see the color code here, so I'm going to copy that, jump back to Figma, and I'll paste it into this fill input here. And we now have a nice background color. And we need some kind of icon here. So I'm going to jump to a site called Icon Finder at iconfinder.com. And let's say we're creating some kind of messaging app. So I'd like a speech bubble or something like that. So I'm just going to search for speech. Then I'm going to click on free up here, so we only see the free icons. And this icon looks pretty nice here. So I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to download this as an SVG so that it's scalable. And that's downloaded. So I'm going to jump back to Figma and then drag this SVG onto the canvas. And I'm going to scale this up a bit. So I'll scale it up to about 1700 pixels. And I'm going to double click on this. And I want this to be white. So I'm going to change this fill to FFF. And to make sure this icon is in the middle of the frame, I'm going to use these buttons up here. So I'll click this button to center it horizontally, and then this button to center it vertically. And then I'm going to rename this frame because whatever name we give this frame will be the name of the file. So I'm going to double click on frame 1 up here and change that to app icon. Then over on the right here, I'm going to click on export. I'm going to export it at 1x. So that it exports at the size that we've created it at, which is 2048 by 2048. Then I'll just click on export app icon, and it's downloaded our PNG. So I'm just going to drag this icon into the root of my project in VS Code, and I'm going to rename it to just appicon.png. And we're now ready to start generating icons and splash screens. Let's generate some web icons based on this source image. So basically all of the favicons we need for a web app. And right now our app has this Quasar icon that you can see in the tab there. And if we jump to our project and this public folder, we can see the favicon there. And in this icons folder, we can see 4 more favicons in different sizes for different devices. And we're going to use Icon Genie to replace all of these based on this source icon. So I'm going to jump back to the Icon Genie page. And we're going to run this generate command. And we have tons of different options that we can use, but the only option that's required is this I option, or we can use icon. And we just use this to specify the path to the source image. So we have an example command here, which only has the required icon option. So I'm just going to copy that and I'm going to paste it into my terminal. And we just need to update the path to the icon here. So I'm going to change this path to just app icon camel case because that's the name of our source file and it's in the root. Then I'm just going to run this command And that's finished. It says it's generated 5 files. So let's see what it's done. I'm just going to close the source icon and let's have a look at these favicons. Okay, so it's generated the icons, but it's trimmed some of the space around our icon. Because if we jump back to Figma, we have this nice bit of padding around our icon, which has been trimmed out. Well, if we jump back to the Icon Genie page and we have a look at these options, we have this skip trim option, which will stop Icon Genie from trimming space around our source icon. So let's try running this again with this skip trim option as well. So I'm just going to run the same command, but I'm going to add this skip trim option and run that again. And this time it looks like it's not trimmed out that space. So let's have a look at these favicons. And yeah, they all look pretty good. And it's also told us in the terminal to add the following tags to our source/index.template.html page. However, if we open that, so source index.template.html, we can see it's already added these tags, so we don't actually need to add those. So let's relaunch our app and see if we can see our new icon. So I'm just going to run Quasar dev again. And it's relaunched our app. We can still see the Quasar icon, but it's probably just a caching issue. So if we reload, we can now see our hot new icon in the tab. And for now, it's only generated the web icons, because Icon Genie will only generate icons and splash screens for the platforms that we've actually added to our Quasar project. So we will need to rerun this Icon Genie command again once we've added those platforms. And by platforms, I mean Electron for desktop apps and either Cordova or Capacitor for mobile apps. We're going to need to run this Icon Genie command every time we make changes to our source icon, and also every time we add a new platform to our project, such as Cordova for iOS and Android, and Electron for Mac, Windows, and Linux. And this command is not very easy to remember. So before we add our desktop and mobile platforms and start generating icons for those platforms, let's create an easy to remember npm script, which will run this command for us. So I'm just going to copy this command that we just ran before, and I'll jump to the File Explorer and open up package.json in the root. And in this script section here, I'm just going to remove this test script and create a new script called icons. And the value of that, I'm just going to set to this command that we just copied. And I'll save that. And now every time we need to generate icons, all we need to do is run npm run icons. Let's generate some desktop. Let's generate some desktop app. Let's generate some desktop app icons for Mac, Windows, and Linux. And before we can do that, we need to add the Electron platform to our project. And if we try to launch our app in Electron mode by running something like Quasar dev-m Electron, then it will automatically add the Electron platform for us. But if all we want to do is add the Electron platform, we can just run Quasar mode add Electron. Okay, it's added the Electron mode to our project. So if we go to the File Explorer, we now have this source Electron folder. And in there we have an icons folder. And we can see our default desktop app icons in here. So we have a PNG for Linux, and an ICO file for Windows, and an ICNS file for Mac, which we can't preview in this editor. But right now they're all using this Quasar icon. So let's replace these icons with our fancy dancy icon. So all we need to do is run our npm script. So we just need to run npm run icons. So we now have Mac, Windows, and Linux versions of our icon based on our source image. So let's build our Electron app for production and see if we can see the icon when we actually run it. So I'm on a Mac here, so I'm just going to build the Mac version for production by running Quasar build-m for mode Electron. However, if you're on Windows, then this should build the Windows version of your app. So I'm going to launch this. Okay, it's finished building the app and it says it's put it in this dist folder, which we can see here. And within this Electron folder, it's created the Mac version in this folder here. So I'm just going to open this in Finder. And we can see our app here, and we can see the icon as well. So I'm just going to launch that, and we can see our Mac app running. And if we look in the dock, we can see our shiny new icon there. And we can also see it in the task switcher as well. If you found this video useful so far, smash the like button and leave a comment telling me if you're going to be using Icon Genie. Are you going to be using it on a Quasar project, or are you going to use the Icon Genie tool purely for creating icons for another kind of project? Let's generate some mobile app icons for iOS and Android. And before we can do that, we need to add one of the mobile platforms to our Quasar project, either Cordova or Capacitor. And I'm just going to add Cordova. So I'm going to jump back to the terminal and run Quasar mode add Cordova. And it's asking for a Cordova app ID. And this is basically a unique ID which will be used by the app stores to distinguish your app if you decide to deploy an app to either the iOS or Google Play app stores. And to make sure this is unique, we can just use a reverse domain style ID such as com.dannyconnell.instantIcons. And it says no Cordova platform has been added yet, as these get installed on demand automatically when running Quasar Dev or Quasar Build. And by Cordova platform, it means iOS or Android. So to add the iOS platform, we can just launch our app in iOS mode by running Quasar dev-m for mode, Cordova-t for target, capital T, iOS. Okay, it's launched our app on the iOS simulator. And if we close this, it's currently using this default Cordova icon. And currently there doesn't seem to be a splash screen. So let's generate some icons and splash screens for iOS and Android. So I'm going to jump back to the terminal and just run our npm script again. So npm run icons. Okay, that's finished. It says it's generated 59 files. So this has really saved us an enormous amount of work here. And if we jump to the file explorer, we now have this source Cordova folder. And if we go in there, we have this res folder, and we have folders for Android and iOS. And we can see tons of icons that it's generated here. So we've got all the icons we need for iOS and Android as well. And if we go into this screen folder, we should be able to see splash screens for both platforms as well. However, these splash screens don't look too great because they have this white background around the icon. And this would look a lot better if it was filled with our primary color, this blue color. And if we jump back to the Icon Genie page, so we'll jump to the Quasar site, Icon Genie, and command list, and scroll down. We have this theme color option that we can use, which will determine the color that it uses to fill all of this space. So I'm going to jump back to our package.json file and update this icon script that we created. And we'll add this --theme -color option. And we want to pass in our hex code without the hash. I'm just going to stretch this out a bit. And I think I have that in my clipboard. So I'm just going to paste that there and save that. And we'll run this script again. So npm run icons. Okay, that's finished. So let's see how our splash screens look now. So I'll go to source Cordova, res, and screen. And we can see our splash screens. And they now look flipping gorgeous. So let's launch our iOS app again so we can see if we see this icon and splash screen. So I'm just going to run Quasar dev-m Cordova-T iOS. Okay, it's launched our app on the simulator again, and if we close it, we can see our icon. However, we don't seem to be seeing the splash screen. However, this is usually just a caching issue with the simulator that happens sometimes. And so what I'm going to do is launch it on a different device simulator. So I'm going to close this and kill the dev process. And to get a list of available device simulators, we can cd into the source Cordova folder and run Cordova run iOS --list. And we have a list of virtual devices here. So let's try the iPhone 12 Pro on iOS 14.3. So I'm going to copy this. And we can now jump back up to the root folder and run the same command as before. Quasar dev-m Cordova-t iOS, and then add another option, -e, and paste in that device name that we just copied in quotes. So I'll run that. Okay, it's launched our app on the other simulator, and if we close this down completely, we can see our new icon, and if we tap on that, we see the splash screen as well. And if we were to launch the Android version on an Android virtual device or on a real Android device, then we would see the icon and splash screen there as well. So I have an app that I created here called Quitter, and this is a Twitter clone that I created using Quasar, VueJS, and Firebase Cloud Firestore. And I have this running as an iOS app, a Mac app, and a web app as well. And it has a beautiful Twitter-style responsive layout that adapts across mobile and desktop, and it has a toggleable navigation drawer with links to our 2 pages. And we have an about page, which is just a content page, and then a home page where we have this input where we can enter a new tweet. And this has a character counter, which will stop us from typing more than 280 characters. And when we hit this button, it adds the tweet to the top of the list. And each tweet in the list displays the tweet content and the date the tweet was posted in relative language, such as less than a minute or 1 day or 6 days. And a bunch of action buttons as well. And we can like a tweet, and we can also delete a tweet. And it also has real-time data sync across all devices, thanks to the Firebase Cloud Firestore database. So if we add a tweet on one platform, we instantly see the same tweet appear on all of the other platforms as well. And likewise, if we like a tweet on one platform, we see it updated on all the other platforms. And if we delete a tweet on one platform, we see it deleted on all the other platforms as well. And I'm going to be showing you how I created this app using Quasar and Firebase Cloud Firestore in a future video. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure you hit subscribe and click the bell. But anyway, this app is currently using all of the default icons. So if we close the iOS version, you can see it's using the default Cordova icon. And for the Mac version, if we look in the dock, it's currently using the default Quasar icon. And if we look at the web version and look at the tab, we can see the Quasar icon as well. And because I've already added all of the different platforms to this project, and because I've already added a source icon to the root of this project as well, which I created using Figma in exactly the same way that I created the other icon, except this dove icon is from Font Awesome instead of iconfinder.com. Then for this app, I should only need to run the Icon Genie command once to generate icons and splash screens for all of these different platforms. So I'm going to open up the project that we created before in VS Code and open up the package.json file, which is in the root. I'll just copy the icons script, then I'll close that and then jump to the package.json file in this Quitter project and paste that script in here. And I'm just going to update this color code here with the primary color of this app, which is this blue color that you can see. And I'm going to grab this from the project's CSS file. So I'm going to jump to source and CSS and quasar.variables.sass. And we can see all of this app's theme colors here. And this is the primary color. So I'm going to copy that, jump back to package.json and replace this color code here and save that. And now I'm just going to run this script. So I'll jump to the terminal, kill the dev process and just run npm run icons. Okay, that's finished. So let's see if it's generated all of our files. So I'll go to the public folder and icons, and we can see the web icons there, the favicons. And then I'll jump to the source Electron folder and icons, and we can see our desktop icons for Mac, Windows, and Linux. And then I'll jump to the source Cordova folder and the res folder and see if we can see our icons. We can see the icons. And we can see the splash screens as well, and they all look pretty good. So let's see if we can see these in the app. So I'm going to launch the web version first. So I'll run Quasar dev. And it's launched the app in the browser. And if we just refresh that, then we can see our new icon there. So let's build the Mac version now. I'm going to kill the dev process and run Quasar build-m Electron. And we have an error here. It says directory not empty, and it's referring to the dist folder. And this just happens sometimes, I'm not sure why. But to fix it, we can just delete the dist folder and then run the command again. So I'll run that again, Quasar build-m Electron. Okay, it's built the Mac version, so I'm going to right click on the dist folder and open it in Finder. Then jump to the Electron folder and then this quitter folder. And we're still seeing the old icon there. This is usually just a caching issue with Finder. And to fix this, we can just hold down the Alt key and then right click on Finder and click on Relaunch. And it's opened up our folder again. And we can now see the new icon. And it's looking pretty sweet. And if we launch it, then we can see the icon in the dock. And we can see it in the task switcher as well. Okay, let's launch the iOS version now. So I'll jump back to the terminal and run Quasar dev-m Cordova-T iOS. And then to make sure we don't have any caching issues, I'm going to launch it on a different simulator. So I'm going to add this E option and paste in this device name and launch that. And it's launched the app in the iOS simulator. And if we close this down, we see our icon. And if we launch it, we see the splash screen as well. And now if we want to make a change to our icon and our splash screens, then all we need to do is make a change to this source icon, rerun our npm script, and Icon Genie will regenerate all of the icons and splash screens for all of the different platforms. And if you're not using Quasar for your project, and you're just using Icon Genie to generate all of these icons and splash screens, then you can just copy all of the icons. So the web icons from the public folder, the Mac, Windows, and Linux app icons from the source Electron icons folder, and the iOS and Android mobile app icons from the source Cordova res folder, and move them into your own web, Cordova, Electron, or native app projects. And if you want to learn more about Quasar, then I have 3 Quasar courses available, which you can get with my discount at dannys.link/courses. Or you can check out this video above. And please hover my face over there and click subscribe. Every subscription helps me to create more content for this channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.